Harrison, how about you?
Wow, that's a very my journey is a very weird journey into the aviation industry because for me it all started for me as the only aircraft I had seen was a helicopter, which in our international school, the helicopter, the Air Force came to land at the school park only to refuel.
Maybe start with where you're from. So that
So my name is Harrison. I'm Ghanaian by nationality, and I work with one of the OEMs here in the Middle East. And I've been working in the aviation industry since 2008 to date. So it's quite a journey that goes all the way back. And having to start this conversation about how you got into it, guess, and for the kind courtesy of your viewers, how sometimes unexpected life situations could land you into a career in aviation. So, and that was just me in a junior high school. In my country, we used to call it the JSS, the junior secondary school, right? So the only time you heard the sound of the helicopter coming to the school was landing at the school park, and then coming to refuel. So I remember sometimes they would tell us that when it arrives and it is break time, you get to see the helicopter, but you're not allowed to get close to it. And when sometimes it's taking off and it's breakover, I find myself lying on the ground, holding on to the grass because my perception was that maybe the air that is coming might carry me away. So I used to lie down in the grass and holding the grass like this. There's so many trips that helicopter made because my daddy was working for an energy company, electricity generation energy company. So they used to do what we call the line observation. So the transmission line that ran through the forest. Obviously, they didn't have the equipment, so they contracted a helicopter from the Air Force to do that. So sometimes it goes and it comes back. It goes in. Then it was seasonal, something seasonal. So sometimes when it's break over and the helicopter is still parked and I still want to still be there, I intentionally tell my school teacher I want to go to use the washroom. And I just disappear from the classroom just to go and sit. I'm like, how does this equipment even fly in the first place? Cutting long story short, for me, I thought these people who fly these things are like superhumans. There was no way I was ever going to be like that. But I just loved the kind of skill set these people really had. So for me, I just forgot about it. All I knew about aviation was just helicopters. And we were in such a very small village community because the company has created a small community on its own. That had everything. It had its own fire service, had its own police station, very small community. And the only time I saw an aircraft was a tiny object flying above the sky. And the contrails, the condensation trails we used to see, we had this perception that said that it's a UFO that is flying, that is this spitting. You used to, in the good old days when you eat a mango and you crack open the seed, you find an insect inside. I'm sure this generation, they have no idea because they buy them all of this supermarket and they don't even finish eating, they throw it away. You could eat mango and virtually get it all white and even dry it and plant it, right? So we were told that's a UFO that is flying up there. That white thing is depicting polio. That's why they say we should do immunization. Polio, the insect in a mango. So anytime we saw, I never knew it was even a condensation trail.
Oh, goodness.
So for me, that was an aircraft for me. Went to high school, didn't do it. I wanted to find myself doing science, but even in the first place, gaining admission into that school was so much high. The standard was so high. You need to get about 10 ones. It was like a grade A is a 1 on that side, right? And I just had 4 1s and 4 2s. So for me, although it was one of the, it's a good grade at that time, during our time, it was even difficult for me getting admission in there. So I wanted to do science. They didn't give me the science. They only gave me business studies and business with economics. Myself and one guy, we ran away from that class to the science class, And obviously, he managed to find somebody to pitch. The teachers couldn't see him, that he was the obvious one out. I was the unfortunate person with a weird seat. So anytime the teacher came to the classroom, we were like, no, this seat is not supposed to be here. Are you a science student? I end up being here, and then the teachers will kick me out of the class. So I went back, spoke to my academic advisor at that time that I keep getting kicked out. They also went, they said the process to change from business to science is so difficult. But what they could do is that there was business one where you could do elective mathematics at that time. That was like ADMAS. So I moved to business one. Finished the school. Then we had, during the time that we were transitioning from high school into uni, at that time, like you said, with a senior high school certificate, you can still get into the Air Force. And at that time, there were certain schools, the aviation sector was divided among 3 major schools in the country. The one in the Cape Coast, they always joined Ghana Airways. The Air Force was for the guys from my school and one other school in the Volta region. So they normally come on a campaign to say, hey, we need more boys coming into the Air Force. If you're interested, please apply. So I went to speak to my parents about it. They were like, oh, hell no. You're not going to go into any Air Force. You're going straight to uni. Because those uneducated, rascal military people, you're not going to join. And secondly, you are way too obedient and when you give me instructions in those days as a kid, so I used to be in the disciplinary committee in school. They call me the DC, where when my target is to come and then get you out, no matter where, I'll come get you. And when you're in trouble, I'll fish you out. I obey instructions without asking any questions. And my dad was like, no. At that time, everybody knew Jerry John Rawlings. Fighter pilots, very skillful. And they're like, what this man does with aeroplane, when you get into the Air Force, the officers will use you for missions we are not going to be happy with. So already my application was never going to go through.
It was vetoed with the family.
Exactly. We transitioned through that time, went to uni. I said, and the requirement changed after we graduated from uni, that you need to have a bachelor's degree now to join the Air Force. So I was like, now I can make decisions on my own. I want to go to the Air Force. I applied into the Air Force. I got a rejection notice. Outright rejection notice because I didn't have physics, biology, chemistry. I'm saying this because there might be somebody out there who thinks that it's only science people who can do something in aviation. But you need to debunk that. I've seen different people with different skill set.
That's true.
It doesn't matter whether you're doing arts, whether you're doing science, whether you're doing business. So I was outrightly rejected because they needed people with aerospace engineering or mechanical engineering or electrical engineering or anything engineering related or science related with physics, they will accept you. So obviously I was rejected. So not having the opportunity to join the Air Force, and number 2, it was never possible to go into to Ghana Airways or anything because my thought is that you need to get a skill before you join the airline. I didn't know anything about ammunition where they pick people to go and then train.
And train them,
So what can I do? I went to teaching. I was teaching primary school. I went back to my alma mater, which was an international school. So went back to my alma mater. I was teaching there for some time. Then one of the schools in Ghana called the Ghana International School, it was like, I don't know, maybe, I'm sure in Nairobi you might have one of those expat schools, right? Yes. So even when I was in Tanzania, there was a school called International School of Tanganyika, IST, which was very high-end international school. So I was teaching sciences. I was teaching IT, and in my degree, I did IT for my bachelor's degree. So I was teaching IT and mathematics. So when the international school came calling, I went to teach IT in the school. But guess what? The school was on the direct flight path when you take off from Kotoka International Airport. You know, when you're taking off from the stadium, because he knows it, there is a school right below you after the LWAC stadium. That was the school I was teaching. The aircraft would take off, you hear the seat vibrating like this. And that was the closest I could see an aircraft, you know?
But it was no longer a UFO.
It was no longer a UFO, very correct. Then I was like, no, I think I'm in the wrong place. So once I was in the city in Accra, I started, where can I get to train. I didn't know aviation training was that expensive. I just thought that it is a school that if you want admission, you just go and you just pay normal money and then you just get trained like a driving school. So we had a field trip to an airfield. And in the airfield, and that man was called Jonathan Porter, all credit to this man. He took a village girl as a maid in the house, and he was a pilot at that time. He took a young girl, a maid who had not even gone to school, taught this girl to fly, and this lady was just doing amazing things at the airfield. Even the demonstration flight was the lady who did everything, and they were building planes and flying it at the airfield. Right. I'm like, I have a bachelor's degree. What does it really take to fly an airplane? If this lady who never went to school, but listen, it doesn't mean that you don't need to go to school to fly, because it also comes with its own advantages.
Yes.
Her not going to school means that her passion and her seriousness is the key seed that made her to succeed in the industry. Exactly. That was what drove her into that. So for me, I said, no, I'm going to push myself to make sure I get it. I got into there. I asked Jonathan, hey, do you train people? He said, yes. He gave me an invoice of $7,000. You have $7,000. Tomorrow you can have you can get trained and you're going to be an ultralight pilot. I went to give the $7,000 to my dad. He looked at the invoice. He just put his hand on his leg like this. 7,000, and now he quoted it even in dollars. And at that time, the city was very head to head with the dollars. Like, no, I'm not going to get this money. So, to cut a long story short, I started to talk to people. How do you train as a pilot? Now I started seeing the invoice. The first invoice I got was from Phoenix East Aviation in the US. Even $7,000 my daddy was putting his hand. I got an invoice of about $80,000 from Phoenix East Aviation to try to train as a pilot in the US. I was like, no, I don't think this is really for me. I went to talk to one Captain Nontra to say, hey, this is an $80,000. Can you help me go to flying school? He said, I'm sorry. Anybody I spoke to was saying, no, I'm sorry. Banks will not give you loans. And that's one of the key challenges in financing in Africa. When you are looking for money to go to do things in the VA, the banks don't give loans because they said academic funds are high risk to them.
Yeah.
You know, so I go to the bank to try to tell them that, hey, I have admission with Phoenix City Aviation. I need $80,000. I would be able to train as a pilot, earn good money, and be able to say, no, we don't do that here. Get kicked out of the bank and this. So one man said, you know what? There are other professions in the aviation industry very close to the piloting, which was called flight dispatch. And that, I said, okay, where can I do that? I was directed to a school that they do flight dispatch training. I received the invoice, $1,500. No, 1,500 cedis at that time, which is almost like $300. That one, my dad said, that one I can pay for. That one I can pay for. My dad gave me the money. And to today, I always keep telling my dad, that $300 seed you sow had made me who I am today. It wasn't about the money. You believed in my dreams. You believed in what I could do. You know, this man too was an instructor, was so full of himself. He had gone to a dispatcher training school in the US. And it was like anytime you Googled anything about flight dispatcher, they tell you he's a captain on the ground. So this guy always went to work in a captain's uniform, epaulets. So he made the job was like, I don't need to fly a pilot to get this beautiful epaulets, you know. So he always embedded into us that culture of, you sit in that chair, with pride. You are the guy who is briefing the pilot. He relies on you for decision making. And you know, everything you can read about flight dispatch, that will tell you the authority you possess as a flight dispatcher at that operations control center. You should be very proud of yourself. I said, okay, I'm going to take up on that. Took it up. And one time I remember I needed to sneak out quickly to go and pick money at the bank. I saw a very long queue. I told my colleague, you know what, let's get onto our epaulets. We put into our epaulets. We walked into the bank. The security was, excuse me, sir, please, we need to attend to these people before they go. They put us right in. I'm like, this uniform is really very powerful. When I'm in traffic, in those days, when we're in traffic, we close from work, and that's the peak time traffic was at peak, I told all my colleagues, because I had a car at that time.
Them on.
So everybody put on their bullets. We get to the police, roll down our glass, like, sir, we're running late for our flight and we need you to. They said, excuse me. First, they will even salute you. They cannot even differentiate between a Navy uniform and a pilot uniform. So they will first salute you and say, good morning, sir. Sir, please, we can be able to help. We get police dispatch and take us all the way to the advantageous places with them. This is what aviation was supposed to be about.
Yeah.
It's open door for you. The pride, it's like the people who serve in the military. It's not like as if they are earning the best of the money, but the uniform and that it gives you with the pride it gives you.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know the salary people are taking in the industry, which is even way more than an air marshal, or way more than a general, or way more than a commander. But the respect the uniform gives you.
Commands, yes.
So exactly. So I was enjoying that ride in terms of being a flight dispatcher, and then at some point I got my license. Like first the career started as a flight operations assistant. When we got our license and we were now releasing aircraft, because in aviation there are only 2 key people who can release an aircraft. No, 3 key people: a flight dispatcher, an engineer, and a captain. So to be in that league, it was really very good.
Yeah.
So then from there, the passion I had made me so good on the job that when I joined in my airline, I was growing so quickly in my career. It got to a time we had a very big Chinese company take over our airline. They brought in professionals. They were like, this guy has talent we need. And that time they were outsourcing the part of the aircraft performance to a company that was charging us a lot of money. So we need talent who will be able to do this. Yeah. The first person that came on the list was me. So I progressed from being a flight dispatcher to become a flight operations engineer. I came back to debunk a lot of theories the performance people were telling our company, because they thought that the African cannot fly the aircraft. So there were airports, they would tell you, with the aircraft performance analysis, we are sorry, you cannot fly.
Yeah.
And those were very good routes. I came back with all the knowledge to debunk all that.
Yeah.
The first time I spoke to the management team to redo all the aircraft performance calculations, they were like, are you sure? Even to the extent that the first flight, the demo flight to one of that particular destination, the captain asked me to sit in the jump seat. If anything happened, you're going to be in this chair.
We're going down.
I'm telling you, because they told us that the aircraft performance, you cannot land on this runway. Yeah. It is too short. Yeah. I told you, I've done the performance calculation under 0 wind conditions. The wind per the meter report is saying this is it. You even have more than enough. Takeoff was smooth in Accra. We landed at this small airport, and it was an Air Force base. So it was basically a runway for fighter aircraft, tiny aircraft. So this was not a major for a jet aircraft like that. We landed, he only used half of the runway after the thrust reverses. Oh, I came back, landed, went to the mine. Everybody was just happy that now we can start flying to this destination.
Yeah.
Progressed through. Whilst I was doing the performance job and the dispatcher job, I was also the company safety officer as well.
Okay.
Volunteering. And this is the importance of volunteering. Sorry, Andy, to really push up this. Because there are people who are doing things that they don't take certain things very seriously. Volunteering is very important. Even in my current job, I never miss any opportunity to volunteer. Never miss any opportunity to be part of anything planning. Yeah. And I don't mind, I don't care about there's not going to be any money out of it. I volunteered for the camp. At that time, ICAO had not mandated SMS. ICAO Annex 19 only came into effect somewhere in 2017. And this was way back. It wasn't even a mandate, but it was something that it was coming. Okay. So I took the opportunity to learn more about safety management systems. And anytime I was working with the safety directors, I seem to have been more on top of the knowledge about how this system is going to be working and in future what's going to be happening. So, and I was very open-minded, and I never took any extra money for that extra job on that. So when the opportunity came, ICAO mandated it. We did IATA audits, and it was time that you needed somebody full-time doing this job. My CEO said, Harrison, I'm going to take you out of dispatch. I'm taking you out of aircraft performance. I want you to work in the safety department full-time. I didn't even question him, because sometimes there was conflict of interest where I needed to travel for training, and my colleagues were very overworked. So I had to take that bite and do it, because it was something new that was up and coming. Now, in line of the job, when it got to a time where my HR was supposed to make me a manager in safety, because now I got so good on this job, and we had managers and directors who had come in and out of the role, met me, and it was basically I was the one who was doing the job and everything. She was struggling a little bit because she thought I was too young at that time to be in that managerial role. So we will come to that discussion or whatever happened.
Yeah.
After being a safety manager, I got my first, that was the first time somebody, when they talk about poaching, we have this one rich ex-presidential candidate who had set up a charter airline using the dark AOC from Nairobi to set up a dark aviation Ghana. So this man came back to, because in Ghana, I'm so very popular in the industry, especially when it comes to safety. So he called me to his extraordinary mansion, said, I want you to come and work for me. We will get to that conversation as why I quickly had to accept that offer. So I will tell you how and then I will be taking you back into some of the conversations that we'll be having later on.
Okay.
I took up the offer. I had my first job as a director, struggling to even become a manager, struggling to even be confirmed as a manager. My first job was a director, and to be an AOC post holder. Now, as an AOC post holder, it means that there are 5 key people in the industry. If one of them is not at post or one of them is not there, you lose your air operator certificate. So these are people you hold dearly in the industry. So I was even holding 2 positions out of that 5 positions. So I became the director of safety, worked for that airline for some time. Things happened. I'll get back to that. Then I got pushed again into Nigeria to go work for one major carrier there called Medview Airlines. I'm sure he would know some of these players. They had 737s, 747s, 767s, and 777s. Wow. And that was my first taste of how operating the Boeing aircraft and how proud people were really were. And it was even interesting that over 15 years ago, I had posted on Facebook, if it was not Boeing, I was not going. Even this vision was there.